Let's bin together blog number 1, using machine learning to predict the next command in Revit. This video is a supplementary video to my first blog, where I create a Revit plugin that looks at the last 4 commands you used and makes a prediction on what the next command should be. Then it lets you execute it, as you see here. So these are the 2 top predictions, and here the gray box at the bottom, those are the previous command history. So I'll show you how it works in a second. However, if you're interested in how I made this, I just want to show you this. You can go to letsbintogether.com, click blog, then here you'll find the LinkedIn article link, so you can click this, and this will bring you to this page here. And I go in depth of how I made this. There's a lot of new things for me here that I've never dealt with before. So yeah, it's a learning journey. Obviously, this is not practical. This is just a lot of fun. Got to use some PowerShell, Python, used Power BI, and even parameter optimization algorithms. So a lot of new concepts. If you're curious, go check it out. It's pretty lengthy, and you might pick up a thing or two. And the idea, at least for me here, was to get familiar with this so I can maybe apply this in future with something more practical. Right, so just to demonstrate how it works, here's the plugin. I'm going to draw a wall. Now my computer is a bit slow because I'm recording a video and making predictions at the same time on the older machine, so it is having a hard time. So after drawing this wall, you could see that the top predictions are move and match type properties. You see here it shows in the gray that these are the last commands I used. Now wall is not showing up here, and I go over it later. I wasn't able to extract the actual last command. I was able to extract the second to last commands from Revit journals. But you can find more about this in the blog itself. So let me put in the door. So now the door actually showed up here, which is interesting enough. So there must have been another command that kicked it back. So then let's say we want to execute one of these commands. I'm going to select my door. I'm going to click move. We just moved the door. Let's select this wall, and I'm going to hit rotate. Still the same predictions, just in different order, which is pretty funny. So let's just draw some detail lines, stir the pot a little bit. So now we have align and move. I'm going to hit escape. Now we got trim and extend corner. So maybe we try that. Let's hit this button here. Fun. So now we got a green option. And then you see here, this guy has red and this is grayed out. So I kind of was just playing around. So what I did was the data that I trained this on had a bunch of commands, you could say, in command IDs that were non-postable. So you can't execute them. So you see here it's ID objects curve line. That sounds like something maybe you would be using inside of when you're editing floors, things like that. So what I did was I grayed it out so you can't click it. If you were able to click it or tried executing this as a postable command, it would give you an error or an exception, right? The plugin might even crash. So then what I did, and this is just for fun, I could have filtered it out, but I just wanted to show the red button, honestly, light up right here. So let's try align. I'm going to hit align, and I'm going to click that. So now also I want to bring up this guy here. You see the 0? That means it's predicting the first top 2 commands. At some point of using this, I noticed that a lot of it was repetitive, probably because of the data that it was trained on, and it was a very small data set. Plus, this is my first hello world into this, so it's probably not the best logic moving forward. So to spice things up, what I did, if the command predictions are too repetitive, if it shows up more than twice, I made it go from the top 2 predictions to the 3rd and 4th, 5th and 6th, and etc. until it's a different top prediction, just to make it more fun. So let's see if we can try to get this repetition going. So I'm going to draw a line here, hit escape. So now you see this jumped up to 1, so that's not the top one. So let's just start using copy paste. So I'm going to copy this over. The index dropped back to 0, as you see, so that means it's again the first top 2 predictions. I'm going to copy this over. Now, this jumped to a 1, so that means that rotate and align, that's actually the 3rd and the 4th most likely command based on the data that we trained it. Now, this jumped up. We're saying purge and save as. That's the 4th, actually 5th and 6th most likely used command. And we're just going to keep going up. So this is just going to keep incrementing until it can reset. So let's try putting something else. Let's see if we can get this guy back to 0. So I'm going to draw a wall. Now wall again, these are the top 2 predictions. So yeah, it's a little fun guide to turn this thing off. You can go and let me just get out of the command. Click here. This will hide it. Another component of this, that is just the Revit plugin. However, most of this I made this little trainer console application, and this basically creates the model that the Revit file, the Revit plugin, will use the model to make the predictions on. So if we go into here, you see this ml model.1.zip. So this console application creates this model that the Revit plugin will use. I also allowed it, the console application, to do, as you see here, you can check the model for accuracy, analyze it in different ways. So I had more fun in here. Most of the work was done. And then once I got to a stopping point, I just turned it into a Revit plugin. So let's say I'm going to delete this file, the model. You'll also find here, there's 3 text files. You're going to find data cooked. And here, this is just a comma-separated value file. So here, that's the first command, second command, third command, fourth command, and then fifth command. So it's just 5 commands separated by a comma, and there's probably quite a few of these, but in terms of training for machine learning, it's actually not that many. So it's 5,000 lines. In the blog, I go over how to create this file. You can use Revit journals. You can find information online. There's one data set available of this. But this is what the trainer, how we will train our model. It's based off this. So as you see, it goes cancel editor. And then all of a sudden, the next command was ID image hidden line. So then there's another file, data cook test. This is what we used. It's basically 20% of our training data. We chop it off, and we don't train on this. This is just to test our data test our model to see how accurate it is. And the last one, this one is just the unique predictions. So I just have a separate file that lists each unique possible outcome. That's the unique column 5 values from the last file. So now that we deleted the model, let's say we don't have the model, I'm going to type in check, right? So I put in C. As you see, I got a handled exception. Why did that happen? That is because I deleted the model. So there was no model to check for. So first thing, what we want to do, and just to show you this here, let's see if we can see this model being made in lifetime. I'm going to hit train, T. Now, it is a bit slow. Again, without recording, it would probably be 10 times faster. So now that we have a model, you could see ml model1.zip was created. So now that there is a model, we can check model for accuracy. So what this will do, it'll use our test set and see if the prediction matches our actual values. So let's do that. C for check. So now it goes through that file, and we can see the actual value was cancel editor. We predicted a line. Again, we got cancel editor, predicted a line. Here, we're predicting a line a lot, and obviously it's not refined too much, but going through this, it looks like trim extend corner, 17% of all predictions. A line is 76, so not the best model in the world. Then we have move at 3% and so on. So that's just checking. We could also do predict, so you could type P and you could just say, you could literally type whatever you want. So you could just say A, and then cat, let's say. So let's say our first, those are the commands. You could input really anything. And it's giving us trim extend corner. I am curious if you say dog. Still trim extend corner. So how do you get out of this? Oh, stop. So then other ones, as you see, it was getting a little repetitive. So I wanted to learn more about it. So I made, check top probabilities. So let's type CT. And let's just say 5. So now this goes through the test data set and it basically makes a prediction and the actual value and shows you all the top ones. So for example, test entry 1, the actual value was ID Visual Programming Dynamo. However, the predictions that the model made was trim extend corner was the most likely, align was the next, and it was rotate, move, and so on. So it gives you the top 20. We could see this here, and you could probably start to understand the data a little bit more. So let's just exit out of that guy. So using the check top probabilities, I kind of made up this thing, which is how the plugin makes the prediction. And that's regarding this index value that I was showing you here. That's the 0. So when the command gets too repetitive, as you see, it was repetitive. I just decided to kind of go down the list and show you, even though not the most likely predictions, but at least they're different. So it was more fun. So to show you how this thing actually works here. So let's type that in. So we're going to do PC, progressive check. Let's just do 5 entries also. We're going to test 5 entries. So you can see here the actual, again, it was Visual Programming Dynamo. That's the actual command, but we predicted trim extend corner, and that was index 1. So that was the most likely command used. The next one, the actual was ID view default 3D view button, and that was the first index. However, now it goes ID button delete, and the prediction is align. It was the same prediction as the last one. So now we're skipping to the next index. And here we're now at an index 3 because the prediction must have been the same prediction again. And then you could tell at this command it was reset to 1. So yeah, that's a fun little project. I got a few other more projects that I get pretty far in. I'll probably make blogs about them. It's pretty exciting. I'm hoping to get a little bit more practical with it or apply it in a more practical manner, just in terms of learning journey. Thank you guys so much for watching this video, and I hope to see you on the next one. Bye.